One of my favorite questions people ask me is, what do you listen to? And I can look them right in the eye and I say, I don't listen to music. And they're astounded. Now, I don't listen to music because I was growing up and I was dyslexic, and it took me all day to learn everything I needed to. And I had to find unique and different ways of gaining that information because reading and writing were very, very difficult to me. Therefore, I learned how to do it audibly, and I started listening to books. And so one day I was in a seminar by a gentleman by the name of Brendan Burchard. I'm at the front of this row and I'm taking notes, most of which I could never read afterwards, but really engaged in it. And he dropped an idea, he dropped a statistic that I found very interesting, that most people are considered experts in their industry if they've read 5 books on it. And he looked at me and he looked at the community and he says, how many books have you read about your industry? Now, I kind of got excited about that because anyone can read 5 books. That's relatively easy. The discipline to do it, of course, is important, but you can absolutely do that. But then I got really depressed because I then started counting up and I was spectacularly an expert in science fiction. And I'm like, great, wasted all my time and I've been listening to science fiction. Well, that's not true. And in fact, about a year later, I started working in a company that we grew from $500,000 to $10 million in 2.5 years. And one bit of information that I used that really I considered keys to success was from a gentleman who wrote science fiction books, Orson Scott Card. And if you ever read the book, The Ender's Game, or seen the movie, that's the author. One of his other books is called Xenocide. And in Xenocide, there is a statement that talks about how the net becomes less and less truthful and how they have to find ways of becoming greater and greater truth. And the only way that happens is they get a percentage of time that these people have been correct over a period of time and how honest they've been. And so every one of the emails that I built in this large company was designed to show that we were honest and upfront and they could trust us. So even the reading of science fiction created a tangential advantage that allowed us to move the company forward, selling millions of dollars of product over the 2-year period because of something I read. How are you learning on a regular basis? How are you continuing to expand your knowledge? Are you going to seminars? Are you in rooms where you're not the smartest person? Are you leveraging your time well? Now, I have an Audible account that has over 700 books on it, and I've listened to countless hours of time. But in all reality, what we have here is an opportunity to continue to expose ourselves on a regular basis. While I'm driving, and I used to have to drive up to New Jersey every other week, and that's a 4-hour drive, an opportunity to really interact with people, to learn, and to get some material done. And I really countenance that is my time where I start learning and start connecting things. And maybe it's not always the best thing. Maybe it's something tangential. Maybe it's something that I learned. I just did a podcast on Leonardo da Vinci in a book I read. If you're interested, you can find it right here. But in the grand scheme of things, that allowed me to see the world differently and continues to expand. We always have to be learning. How many books have you read on your industry? Let me tell you, some of them, they're really hard to get through. Wouldn't you like to be known as an expert? Well, here's one of the fastest ways of doing it, is starting to read on a regular basis. Now, there's so many times when we have a few minutes that we don't have to pick up our phone. We can pick up our phone and read on the Kindle or listen. My favorite is the Audible books. In fact, Audible is always playing in the background when I'm driving. And then when I really want to focus on something, I get the Kindle version and the audio version and watch it and listen to it at the same time. As dyslexic, that really helps me, and it really cements that in. If you could set a goal of every year reading 5 books in your industry, how much of an expert would you be in 1 year, in 2, in 4? You would create a legacy far beyond anything, and you would become much more valuable to everyone around you if you knew all of the information. Think of yourself as a professor of that industry, of that area. Think of yourself as someone who has all of the knowledge. Not that they can look it up, because you can, and there's new tools and techniques that are going to be able to look it up all the time. But the beauty is to have it all inside you, because what happens, the thing that computers can't do really well is take two disparate ideas and come up with another one. That is going to make the biggest difference. If you're worried about computers taking your job, if you're worried about AI and the like, don't. Because what they don't do is they don't have that spark of creativity that we have naturally in us. The only way you nurture that spark of creativity is to step up, to start absorbing the information, because as soon as you absorb it, something that you've read, something that you've heard, something that you've seen will trigger something else. I never thought Orson Scott Card and Xenocide would be the book that taught me something that actually made a company better. But who knows? And therefore, start delving and start learning. Stop being distracted by all of the things around you and focus. Focus for a little time. How long would it take you to get through 5 books in your industry? How long would it take you to become an expert? That is valuable for the rest of your life, because sooner or later things will come up. If you'd like to really become the expert, then set a goal of 5 books. 1.5 books a quarter will solve that problem completely. And becoming in a habit of finding little time to do it. When you're waiting in a waiting room, when you're in a car, only if you're listening, don't be driving. Always using that time effectively. When you feel like you should be scrolling, grab a book and read it. It will help you mentally, it will help you physically, and it will help your career, it will help your business, all of which are valuable. Get into different rooms, and then when you're in different room, you can talk about different ideas. You can talk about different ways that you're seeing. You grow and become greater that way. Power of learning and using your time wisely. If you could just cut out an hour a day of staring at a screen to stare at a book, will change your life. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to select the first book. I'd like you to think about your industry and what you want, and select the book that you think is the most important. Is it something that people quote all the time? Is it something that people are interested in? Is it something you're interested in? And then get it. Get it on a Kindle, get it on an iPad, get the physical copy, whatever works best for you, and commit to yourself even 20 minutes a day. I like reading just before I go to bed. It's a good wind down. Now, you don't want to write anything terribly exciting, but it's a good wind down, and it's a good way, and it lets your subconscious work, all of which are great tricks. I'd love to hear what your best trick is for learning, what you use on a regular basis to expand your brain. Put it in the comments below, and let's continue the conversation. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gained.